Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I have a truly heart-wrenching yet uplifting story to share with you. Imagine being abandoned with a baby and no money, only to have a chance encounter with a stranger turn your life around. This is the story of "My husband left me with a baby and no money, then I met a stranger who changed everything." Let's dive right in and see how one woman's life was transformed in the most unexpected way. Dorothy stood in the kitchen and thoughtfully washed the kettle for about 10 minutes, thinking about when all this would end and how she would get out of this situation. She felt that she no longer believed in her marriage, and it depressed her more and more, and how well it had all started. Nathan was courting her romantically and charmingly. He serenaded her under the windows, gave her flowers every day, and always different ones, until he had realized that she loved orchids most of all, and after that he gave them only. And Dorothy thought then that it would be like that forever, maybe without orchids, but certainly with Nathan next to her. Soon Nathan asked Dorothy to be his wife, and she immediately agreed. She seemed to glow with happiness at the wedding, and Nathan kept whispering his vows of eternal love to her. They lived in Nathan's apartment that his parents had presented to him a few years ago. The apartment was next to the office where Dorothy and her college friend Sharon had been working as designers for 3 years. True, Sharon soon got married too, and moved in with her husband to a neighboring city. Dorothy liked the apartment. The only thing that annoyed her was that one of the 2 rooms was filled with musical instruments. Nathan was a musician and a bandleader, but they had no success, and their performances brought no money. Everything Nathan could earn outside musical activities was usually spent on rehearsals and transportation of equipment. At first Dorothy's domestic problems did not bother her, as she was working and had enough money, but then, giving birth to a child, Dorothy immersed herself in home life and felt how much she missed Nathan's help. He was always away at rehearsals, dealing with some band issues and coming home late, almost always drunk. Dorothy longed to feed him dinner and just talk, but she did not want to be a capricious and grumpy wife, and she said nothing. One day, after her son was born, she asked Nathan to go for a walk with little Spencer, as she wanted to sleep for at least half an hour and get some rest. But her husband just looked at her in surprise and irritably said, "These are your responsibilities, Dorothy. I can't do all this nonsense. Do you want me to become a well-known musician or not?" And then Dorothy clearly understood that nothing was going to change, and it wasn't because he hadn't given her orchids for a long time. Nathan had changed a lot, and he didn't care about her and Spencer. Dorothy was ready for one last conversation with her husband. But disaster struck. Her mother died of an illness. After the funeral, Dorothy fell into a stupor and depression. Nathan started bringing orchids again, and Dorothy even thought that in this way he was trying to support her, but as it turned out, it was something else entirely. Soon, Nathan started talking about selling her mother's apartment. He offered to use the proceeds to buy a minibus, which he planned to use to go to rehearsals and tours. Dorothy almost laughed, because her husband had never been away for performances beyond the local clubs, but she didn't argue, and they bought the car and put the rest of the money in the bank. But of course, everything went on as before. Spencer started teething, and Dorothy could not sleep at night, listening to the moans of her baby, and Nathan was often absent at such nights. But his band performances did not add money to the house, and they lived, in fact, only on the children's allowance. One day the telephone rang, and Dorothy was overjoyed to hear the cheerful voice of her friend. Sharon reported that she and her husband would soon be going on vacation abroad, and she tearfully asked Dorothy to stay in their home and look after Rocky the spaniel. Dorothy was happy, because she had longed for a change of scenery, at least for a while. She shared her worries with Sharon, and her friend said firmly, "That's it, it's settled. Come to us with Spencer, I'll be back from vacation, we'll figure it out. Maybe you do not have to go back to your husband. Stay here, find a job and you can live with us while you need. The house is big." And Dorothy made up her mind. She hastily stuffed some of her things and Spencer's clothes into the suitcase, took her documents and driver's license. She left Nathan a note explaining that she was leaving for good and would file for divorce. While Dorothy was putting the baby seat in the car, she realized that it was getting dark and cold outside. She drove to a gas station on the outskirts of the city, filled a full tank, but a few dozens of kilometers away, the car stalled. Realizing they would not make it to the nearest settlement on foot, Dorothy tried to call, but as luck would have it, there was no connection in the area. Then she tried to give signs to passing cars honking and flashing their lights, but no one stopped. 2 hours passed. It was deep into the night and the highway was completely deserted. But then the lights of a car appeared in the distance. Dorothy ran out onto the road in despair and waved her hands. The jeep stopped next to the woman and a man got out. He tried to find out what was wrong, but Dorothy was so cold and tired that she could hardly speak. From her confused story, he only understood that they were going to the same city, that her car had broken down for some reason, and that the baby was freezing in it. "Okay, let's do this." Get your things and the baby and his car seat out of the car and come over to my car. Don't worry, we are in the same direction anyways. I'll take you where you need to be, and tomorrow you can call a tow truck, which will take your car to the station. Dorothy immediately agreed. The prospect of freezing in the car together with the baby really frightened her. Already in the car, the man introduced himself as Gregory. He told her that he was going to his parents, who lived in the same city as her friend. His father had opened a new branch in that city while he was in charge of the old one. The man smiled and added good-naturedly that his parents would probably be the best people on earth if they didn't torture him with their desire to marry him quickly. Better not rush into it, Dorothy blurted out. Gregory was surprised and cautiously asked, "Excuse me, are you speaking from your own experience?" And Dorothy suddenly felt completely unashamed to tell the stranger about everything, and that her dreams of family happiness had crashed on daily life, and that she had to flee from her husband from her hometown, and that everything began with a great love. Gregory listened to her thoughtfully, and for a while they drove in silence. "Dorothy, can you help me?" he suddenly asked. "You saved us today. I owe you one. Tell me what can I help you with, and I'll see what I can do." And Gregory told Dorothy that once upon a time he had had a girlfriend, but she had left him for a richer businessman from Greece. Then his parents decided to introduce him to a woman who worked at his father's company. She, in their opinion, was pretty and nice, with good moral principles. But Gregory flatly refused, and now they remind him again and again of the need to get married. And so Gregory had a brilliant, in his opinion, plan, in order to make them at least temporarily leave him alone. Gregory suggested Dorothy to go together to his parents and play the role of his bride in front of them. Dorothy at first wanted to give for, but remembered she owed him a debt of gratitude. So she just smiled and agreed. "All right, Gregory, but only tomorrow, because then my friend, whom I am driving to, is leaving for vacation, and I will have no one to leave my baby with, and I don't think your parents would like a bride with a baby from another man. I'm sure my parents wouldn't be upset if the bride had a child, but in any case, thank you for agreeing. Then I invite you to dinner at our place tomorrow evening." When Gregory picked up Dorothy the next evening, she met him in readiness. He looked at her admiringly and assured her that her parents were definitely like her looks and kind disposition. Dorothy laughed and promised to talk less so as not to give herself away. When Gregory introduced Dorothy to his parents, he was speechless at how warmly they greeted her. It turned out that Dorothy was the same woman who worked in his father's company and whom the parents knew well and predicted for their son as a bride. When Dorothy returned home, Sharon questioned her about everything, and learning that Gregory was the son of their common boss, her friend gave free rein to her fantasies and told Dorothy how things would go on if, of course, she would not hide her feelings. "Well, I see that you like Gregory and managed to notice, though he has been with us for a short time, that he likes you too. Now stop living in the past or punishing yourself for being wrong about Nathan. You're staying with us, getting a divorce and coming to work for my boss, who may soon become your father-in-law. We'll put Spencer in kindergarten here and everything will be fine. We're all going to bed now. We have an early flight tomorrow, but I will constantly be in touch to be updated on how your relationship is progressing," said Sharon and winked conspiratorially to her friend. And events did develop rapidly, and almost as Sharon predicted. Gregory visited Dorothy every day, and one day finally confessed his feelings to her. And when Dorothy also confessed her feelings in return, Gregory put her and her son in a car and took them to his parents. Dorothy was anxious that they would take the fact that she was not alone and with a child. But when Gregory's mother came up to them, Dorothy was relieved of heart. "Well, hello, little one. I'm your new grandmother," she said amiably and held out her arms to Spencer. Dorothy couldn't believe what was happening. She thought this only happened in the movies, but it wasn't a movie. It was her new happy life, in which there was no place for Nathan. By the way, a year later, she somehow saw a report about her ex-husband. But not about the famous musician, but about the drunken hooligan who burst onto the stage and disrupted the concert of a famous band. Apparently this was the popularity he had dreamed of, but he made his own choice. If you enjoyed this story and felt as moved by it as I did, please give this video a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more incredible stories. Hit the bell icon to stay updated with our latest content. Thanks for watching, and hello, everyone. Today, I have a story that is as heart-wrenching as it is shocking. It's about the complex dynamics of family relationships and the unexpected choices people make. This is, my mother called my son unmanly for kissing his boyfriend, so I kicked her out. Get ready for a tale that will keep you on the edge of your seat as we dive into the intricacies of love, acceptance, and standing up for what is right. So, sit back, relax, and let's dive into this captivating story. My mom is a conservative woman. The apple fell far from the tree with me. My mom and I, male 40, already have a rocky relationship because of my religious beliefs. I'm agnostic. My mom is the type of person to try and trap you in her beliefs. Well, despite all that, she's divorcing my dad and going through the divorce right now, and she left the house. She came to my doorstep the other day while my son was at school, asking me to stay. I wanted to say no, but against my better judgment, I let her. I don't think I should have let her in the first place. She would only stay with me for the night to see her family in another state. My son is bi and has a boyfriend. His boyfriend usually comes over after school. They study here, and it simply didn't cross my mind that he'd be coming over. He ended up coming home with his boyfriend. He's aware of my mother's beliefs. I was stuck, trying to avoid an argument. I just said that they'd be studying together and left it at that. Well, I guess when he was leaving, they kissed, and my mom saw it, came to me fuming, asking if I knew about these sins going on under my roof. I reminded her that those aren't sins under this roof, and it's my house. We went back and forth. The argument consisted of her saying that this was way too far. He's only a teenager, and these phases shouldn't be supported, and me just saying to zip it and act like an adult about this and not traumatize a child or don't let the door hit you on the way out. It wasn't until she decided to go to my son impulsively in the middle of my argument, telling him he was unmanly and emasculating himself, acting like a woman. She said that he needs to stop trying to use women's people for themselves. No clue what that meant, and that he looks like a fool spreading the image that he's some feminine male. She tried saying he was going to the bad place, but I walked her out of his room. I told her to get her stuff and find a new place to stay. She argued that she was just saying it like it was. It's a sin. I said that if she focuses on sins, focus on hers with divorcing her husband, and we went back and forth for over 30 minutes of me trying to get her out of my house. Finally fed up, I grabbed her bags, put all her stuff in them, tossed them outside, and told her to get out. Or I'll get more extreme with this. I called my sister to come pick her up. She was waiting for 15 minutes, Mac's mom made it a point to tell the whole family, and they told me that doing that was an idiot move because they made her uncomfortable because we knew her beliefs. I don't think that's right at all. Their reasoning is a no in my opinion, but solely for what I did. Am I the idiot? I feel my only dumb move was letting her in, not the idiot. She claims to be a Christian, but skipped the verses about not judging or loving one another. Your responsibility was to your son, and you took the action necessary to protect him and make sure he knew that you would. Your mother sounds horribly toxic, unfortunately, like a great many people. I'm glad your son is raised by a parent like you and not her. This story has a hypocritical choosing beggar idiot, and it's not you. She disrespected your rules in your house, even while you were doing her a favor. She couldn't zip it for 24 hours. Even if she disapproved, she could have gone to her room and shut up until the morning, or left of her own accord. She chose to die on the hill. Think of it this way, at least now it'll be much easier to go no contact after this, and your extended family told on themselves. Grandma sucks. Get a rainbow flag for the front porch. Maybe it'll work like garlic on vampires, and she'll stay away. I'm 29 male, currently planning a wedding, and we're getting into the nitty-gritty details. For background, my parents got divorced when I was 5. The divorce happened after my dad fell in love with his current wife, my stepmom, Alice. They claimed they didn't cheat, but waited to be separated before anything physical happened. I don't know or need to know whether that's true. My dad and Alice got married, and we were living together by the time I was 7. They had my 2 siblings within the next 4 years. My parents had split custody, and Alice was 100% a mother figure to me. We're very close, and she's been there for me in every tough moment. She also helped pay for my college and grad school, which I greatly appreciate. My mom is a good mom, but we've never been as close as I am with my dad and Alice. Our personalities are very different. We're planning the first dances right now, and have my first dance with my fiancé, and she has hers picked out with her dad. Her parents are still married, so there's no drama there. But being so close to Alice, I really don't feel right excluding her and only dancing with my mom. So I asked her if she'd be comfortable doing one with me as well. She was overjoyed and cried with emotion. I'm really excited about it, but once my mom found out, she flipped out, said I'm replacing her as my dad had replaced her. I told her it's not a replacement, but she's been so supportive of me my entire life, and I consider her a true bonus mother, so I don't want to exclude her. But she doesn't want to accept that. So yesterday, my aunt, mom's sister, called me and ripped me a new one. I know it's a little controversial, but in my heart, it's what I really want to do. Am I the idiot for going through with this and having 2 mother-son dances? Personally, I've been to a few weddings with steps involved where there were 2 mother-son or father-daughter dances, and it seemed really sweet, not like overkill. I will do the shortened versions of the songs, so it won't be too long if that matters. Not the idiot. Alice has been in your life since you were 5. So basically, most major formative years and events, she's been extremely supportive, helped you get through school, and has been a true mother figure in your life, and you want to share this big event with both of your moms. If your mom doesn't want to share that time with Alice, no one can force her. But she also can't force you to snub a woman who's always been there for you from such a young age, because she's still hurt by something that happened decades ago. Yes, and I know it's not for me to judge people holding grudges, but OP said they divorced when he was 5. He's now 29, and his dad and Alice are still together. It might sting, but it's also reality. OP's mom must come to terms with the reality of the situation, and now her son has replaced her. This woman stepped into her life and took her child. Their relationship is arguably closer. Wouldn't you have a problem with that? OP, when you're saying your vows to your wife, staring into her eyes, and telling her how much she means to you, I want you to picture your future family. Now imagine your wife having intimacy with some other dude, and your wife unrepentantly says, well, screw you, you're not good enough, and she leaves. So all you have left in the world is your child. And now you're looking your mom in the eye and saying, yeah, of course, she's just better than you. Dude, just wow, your lack of empathy for your mom is staggering. My point is that don't be surprised if your mom doesn't attend the wedding. Don't be surprised if you never talk to your mom again. Dude, your mom's life was burned to the ground, and now you're hugging and dancing with the woman who lit the match in front of a crowd. Man, I just can't fathom hating my mom that much, but you do, you idiot. I agree. If Alice was a good person, she would manage some empathy for the woman who's OP's actual mom. She could say, honey, that is such an honor to be asked, but I don't want to hurt your mom. And as a mother myself, I know just how hurtful it would be. You should share that special mom dance with just her. OP, this woman broke your family and then warmed her way into your heart with money, and you're saying it puts her on the same level as your real mother? Wow. I, female 29, own my own apartment. It was inherited, and I know I'm extremely lucky. However, to be able to keep the apartment, I rent out a room. We share a kitchen, a living room, and a bathroom, and have separate bedrooms. When my current roommate, female 26, signed the contract, I reviewed it with her. Mostly standard stuff, but one section is added that no cats or babies. Children are allowed. Cats because I'm highly allergic, and children because I don't want to live with a child. Children visiting is fine. We have an agreement that any long-term visitors will need to be cleared by the other person. Breaking those rules will lead to eviction. We get along great. We're quite similar in our habits. She always pays her rent on time, and there is no food stealing. After about a year, she calls me into the bathroom one day. Standing in front of the mirror in a foreign-fitting stretchy dress, she looks at her stomach. She asks me if I think the dress still fits her. I could see her stomach was bigger, but I sometimes look like that in the evening, so I assumed she was bloated. I brush it off and say she looks fine. We should normalize being bloated at the end of the day. She gives me a weird look before she says she's not bloated. She's 3 months pregnant. Yep, that's how she decided to tell me. Anyway, I'm kind of taken aback as it came out of the blue. She's never mentioned it before or wanting a kid or a boyfriend. Found out the pregnancy was from a one-night stand. After probably looking like an idiot for a few seconds, I calmly congratulated her. Not with a lot of enthusiasm per se, as I really don't get excited about the idea of pregnancy and babies, and this really was a surprise. But I was polite enough after an awkward silence before I made up an excuse to have to go study. A few weeks go by and we kind of just go back to normal. While making dinner one evening, I ask her if she's found a new place to stay. She's really confused and asks what I mean. I reminded her of the contract she signed that says no babies can live here. I tell her that she can stay up until the baby comes, but it's wise to look for a new place soon. I don't know if she assumed she'd be able to continue to stay here with the baby, but I guess so. A few days later, I started getting texts from her friends calling me an idiot for kicking out a pregnant woman on the street. She has like 5 months to find a new place, and I charge a pretty average rent for the room, so it's not like she can't afford other places with roommates. I completely understand why I might seem like an idiot to some, but I genuinely think I'm in the right here. Why should I ignore my boundaries and comfort because my roommate decided to have a baby when she knew from the beginning it's a deal breaker to live here? Anyway, I guess I'm here to get a wider perspective on this. Not the idiot. It's your apartment and she signed a contract. Getting knocked up does not automatically qualify you for exceptions. You haven't kicked her out. You've told her she needs to find a new living situation. She has months to find a new place, and all those friends calling and texting you can offer up their home for her to stay. Did she think you would help raise this baby and just forget about the contract? When was she going to tell you? LOL. If she thinks she's going to do this all by herself, maybe she doesn't understand what's about to happen here, because it's hard for me to imagine how you wouldn't get pulled into helping all the time, or at the very least, being very inconvenienced and looking like a jerk when you tell you won't help out when she's exhausted and sleep deprived. So, I completely understand why you'd want to keep the boundary. Exactly. She did agree to the contract. No babies means no babies. You were never the kind of besties that you'd put up with someone else's baby, and you gave her 5 months' notice as well. Her financial situation is not yours to solve, and it's much kinder to be firm about this now than when she comes home from the hospital and finds her stuff on the curb. My wife and I have been married for a decade. She's a stay-at-home wife and we have no children. She has a daughter from a previous relationship, Sarah, and we've gotten along for the most part. Sarah's a junior in college pursuing a biology degree with additional courses required by medical schools. She's dreamed of being a doctor and helping people since her mom and I met. The problem is, she could be a better student. She's failed her biology 1 class and had to retake it to get a B. She really struggled in her next level biology class and finished with a C. She also got a C in her chemistry class. She got a B in calculus 1 and 2. She's making A's in her non-science and non-math classes, so they're padding her GPA, which is at a 3.2. This semester, I just learned that she'd make B's and C's in her science and math classes. I'm not a doctor, and I don't know any doctors, but I did online research. I discovered that medical schools require many things, but at the top of the list is a high GPA and top grades in science and math classes. Unfortunately, with Sarah's grades, she's not getting into any medical school. I even looked into nursing school to see if I could talk her into going that route, and all the ones I looked at require higher grades than she has. I talked with my wife about it, and she said that medical schools look at other things besides grades, and that's where Sarah excels. She has a solid volunteer resume, and she cares about people. I argue none of that mattered if her grades weren't good enough. She argues that Sarah will do great in the interviews. As I said, I have no experience with medical school, so I can't argue with her logic. Instead, I talked with Sarah when she came home for Thanksgiving and told her to look into another major because she might not be cut out to be a doctor. She ran to her mom, and we all got into a huge argument. I lost my temper and yelled that I'm not wasting any more money on something she'll fail in. I told them both I'm not paying for next semester's classes unless she changes her major to something more realistic. I feel bad, I do, but I'm not rich, and I don't have money to waste if she doesn't have a chance to get into medical school. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Medical schools are very competitive, and everyone has a minimum GPA requirement. If her GPA is below that, they'll automatically reject her without the chance of an interview. Sometimes being a good parent is putting a stop to the madness and saying no, even though it's hard. I would go and speak with some professors and guidance counselors about this and see what they say, then have her go with you before any decision is made about her future. Is she aware of the work that goes into being a doctor? What would it be like? Can she do some work at a hospital and see how hard it is? See if nursing is best for her? You are the idiot. It's your money, but to tell your stepdaughter out of nowhere that you cut the money isn't nice. Give her 1 semester to achieve better grades and prove herself, then she'd know what she had to do and what was on the line. I'm a successful engineer. Do you know what I had to calculus 1 and 3? Do you know what I never used since school? Any of my college classes. While a different career path, classes don't correlate to real-world experiences. Next time you go to your doctor's office, please ask your doctor about the last time they used calculus 1 or 2 in treating a patient. You are the idiot. It's not wasteful just because she doesn't have a 4.0. I've usually gotten along with all my son's teachers until now. A couple of weeks ago, I was talking to a single mom from my son's 3rd grade class and she was complaining about how hard it is to be a single mom. Then she said, "You single dads have it so much easier than single moms." The stuff she was complaining about seemed more about her being lazy, and it's not like her kid's dad isn't as involved as she is. I, on the other hand, am raising a preschooler and a young child solo. There's no child support, no one to take them off my hands, etc. I can't tell you how helpful it is when both have an after-school play date with other kids. Parents take little stuff like that for granted. In response, I told the single mom, it's not that I have it easier, it's that I have my act together. She was offended by my remark, but it's true. Yesterday, I was speaking to my son's teacher. She's someone I wouldn't get along with, so I don't try to deal with her unless I must deal with her. She asked me if I thought it was helpful to tell other parents that they were lazy. I asked her if she was helpful with her grammar and spelling errors in her class emails. She asked, "What errors?" I said, "I'll send her some examples because I wanted to be helpful." So I did, and she hasn't responded. Personally, she should be paying more attention to her emails and less to providing commentary on discussions that she wasn't a part of. Not the idiot. Parents can't run to their child's teacher because of another adult. Also, if she took that as you told her she's lazy, then that's on her. She obviously knows it's true and got offended by it. Also, no reason for a teacher to mingle with parental stuff that has nothing to do with the child or education. I'd be petty too if she didn't have correct grammar teaching my child. Everyone's the idiot here. Look, I get it must be infuriating to have your parenting undermined by someone else, but take a breath and seek out the high road every so often. The mom was venting. Some people do a crappy job blowing off steam and bring other people down with them. Don't be like them. And while the teacher is way out of line to get involved with this scenario, your petty response was an unnecessary escalation. And there you have it, a journey through the emotional turmoil of family expectations and personal boundaries. If this story resonated with you or left you wanting more, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the notification bell to stay updated with our latest stories. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever faced a difficult choice about family and personal values? Until next time, remember, standing up for yourself and your loved ones can sometimes be the hardest, yet most important. Welcome back, everyone. Today, we have a story that will truly test the boundaries of family loyalty and support. Imagine struggling to conceive a child for years, only to have your heart shattered repeatedly. Now, picture being invited to a dinner intended to cheer you up, only to be blindsided by the very news that brings you pain. This is the story of a couple's heart-wrenching experience, titled, "My Mother Invited Us to Dinner to Support My Wife After Her Miscarriage But Shocked Us with Her Pregnancy Announcement." Let's dive into this emotional roller coaster. I'm 28 male, happily married to my wife, Sarah, 31. We've been together for over 6 years and married for 3 years. My mother, Laura, 45, had me pretty early on. She always wanted a big family and has been with my dad since they were teens. After she had me, she decided to be a stay-at-home mother, and in the space of 10 years, had 7 kids. So, I have loads of siblings. She's recently announced that I'm to become a brother again. Sarah and I have been struggling to conceive for the past 3 years. We really would like to have a kid together and consider looking for other options, but my family talked us out of it, saying we shouldn't trust our child with some unknown woman. I have suggested my mother or my sister carry for us if they're that worried, but both of them declined, saying that they can't have any more children and won't be able to carry. My sister has 5 kids. And just a note, I love Sarah regardless if we have a child or not, and I'm willing to adopt, but she really wants us to have our own. Sarah and I have tried a lot of options, and recently, unfortunately, she had another loss, and this was really upsetting and depressing for both of us. So, I've shown my support, and my mother, who knew about our struggles and recent news, invited us out to dinner at her house yesterday to support and cheer Sarah up. Sarah wanted to attend as she has a very good relationship with my mother. My entire family was there, and the dinner was going well. Sarah congratulated my mother on her pregnancy, and I thought that would be it. Then my sister announced that she was pregnant again, and basically, she and my mother ended up having the baby talk really loudly, where my sister was excited to have another brother, and my mother wanted to have another grandchild. That was too much for Sarah, and she got up and left in tears, and I followed her shortly after. She had to cut off her family because they kept telling her she was not a woman for not being able to have children and was too old, and this got to her too much. After we got home, my mother called me and said Sarah behaves very rudely, and she was expecting an apology as it has ruined the dinner to celebrate life. I got angry and told her that she was completely out of line and inconsiderate for having the baby talk with my sister when she knew Sarah had another loss, and her life celebration dinner made things a lot worse for both Sarah and me. I've also said that we would not have come if she had told us what the dinner was about. In the end, I was called an idiot for not appreciating another life being born. Am I the idiot? Edit. To point out, my mother has told Sarah and me that the dinner was to support her after the loss. In no way or form did she mention this being about the celebration of life, pregnancy announcement, fertility lottery, and babies. We wouldn't have come if that was the case, and we were aware of it. Not the idiot, but let me get this straight. They have shot down options that you and your wife have considered. Firstly, they declined to carry for you because neither could have more children. Then they both spend the dinner allegedly planning to help consult your wife after a loss, loudly yapping about their pregnancies, the ones they claimed they couldn't have. Your mom and sister aren't the massive idiots here, and I say keep them out of any future family planning discussions entirely. I'm still shocked that OP will have a brother who's 29 years his junior. Or am I reading that wrong? Did they intentionally get knocked up to show off their functioning reproductive systems or something? Mommy, why did you and Daddy have so many kids? Well, dear, you and your brother are spite babies. Yeah, tell me you hate my wife without telling me you hate my wife vibes. OP, do you see a pattern here? This did not happen by accident. They manipulated you out of pursuing other options and lied in the worst possible way to manipulate you both to show up for dinner. They knew how much it would hurt. It wasn't a bug. It was a feature. Your mother and sister are annoyingly sabotaging your wife and your happiness. I would say OP's mother and sister very likely feel superior to OP's wife since she cannot carry a pregnancy. However, these women are quite clearly able to get pregnant easily, and for many women being so fertile makes them feel superior as a woman. That's beyond cruel, and I cannot see how they have any respect for life when they behave this way. I'm so glad you supported your wife. It's so heartbreaking to hear that she had to deal with this because she received zero support from her own family. I, teen male, have been in family therapy with my dad, his wife, her daughter, tween, and my half-siblings, kindergarten female, young male child. My dad married his wife when I was 9, and 15 months after my mom died, they met at a support group for people who had lost someone. Dad lost mom, and his wife had lost both her parents, close together, who were the people who helped her raise her daughter since the bio dad wasn't in the picture. Pretty quickly, her daughter started calling my dad, Dad. My dad's wife told me repeatedly in the first year that I could call her mom. She'd like it if I did. She'd love for me to call her daughter my sister instead of saying stepsister. She told me my mom would want me to have another mom, and that she'd want that for her daughter. So how about we drop the steps? We love each other like mom and son because that's what we legally are now. I said no. My dad told me I should give it a chance, that a mama's boy would do much better with another mom. It became pretty clear to them over the years that I was not into that idea. I used the half for my half-siblings once they were born. I never dropped the step, and I never called his wife mom, not even slipping up in a conversation or with other people. This all bothered them. So 17 months ago, they decided we should all go to family therapy and help smooth out all the creases, which to them is the step and half titles. The therapist and I have talked a lot over the months, just the two of us. She's pretty cool and knows what they want isn't going to happen. My dad and his wife started saying they wanted help for us to be the perfect family, and the therapist will always use the language, let's find your family's version of perfect, whatever that may be, which I think makes sense because I know for me, this will never be my perfect family. I also know they will never get the image they have in their heads. 3 weeks ago, we had a session with a fill-in therapist because our usual one is sick. During therapy, my stepsister felt really bad that I said stepsister after someone said I should take a photo with my sister. She also said she hates that I don't love her and she really felt it that day. Then her mom started talking about the perfect family thing. The therapist was not in control and had no idea what he was doing. I started getting mad because my dad and his wife were repeating the whole perfect family thing over and over again. I ended up saying we will never be the perfect family and I'll never see them as my ideal family, that I wouldn't even choose for them to be my family. It became a huge fight and I got grounded for 2 weeks for saying it. My dad told me he was tired of me not trying to make this family work and he told me I was out of line for saying what I did. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I'm so sorry that you lost your mother first and foremost. Secondly, your dad is a major idiot for trying to force you to feel a certain way about his new spouse and kids. And thirdly, he's a super turd for punishing you for what you expressed in therapy. This is something to discuss with your regular therapist next time because someone needs to straighten that man out. Reach out to your mom's family, particularly your grandparents. Let them know you were restricted from contacting them, but you're now old enough to do so on your own. Call, text, and video chat regularly. Build a relationship. Try to arrange a visit and outing. See if you get on with cousins your age. So sorry for your loss. You're not being unreasonable. Your father lacks empathy. He's decided not to face his grief but rush into another relationship. His anger at you is because you remind him of his failing to support you as a father and to deal with his grief properly. Your stepmother is an insecure idiot. My male teen, mom 39, remarried John, 44. He has 2 daughters, Kayla, a young teen, and Janice, a teen. They remarried about 4 years ago, and John's parents hate us. They don't like the fact that John remarried and hate me especially. But I think of John as my dad and Kayla and Janice as my sisters. So it was Kayla's birthday a few days ago, and her grandparents, who adore her, wanted to have a surprise party for her but keep it between family only. So when I heard of it, I was excited and helped with the cake, etc. On the day, everyone was getting ready, and it was going fine until John's parents asked, "What are my mom and him doing here? They're intruding on the party." They then told me I wasn't technically part of their side of the family and that they were clear enough to say it was a family-only party. I was upset and argued back, and during all the chaos, the surprise aspect of the party kind of fell through. And basically, Kayla came back to see everyone fighting. John's parents told me I ruined the party, and they brought Kayla plus Janice and John back to their place instead to celebrate. I think what they did was unreasonable, but I also think I may be the idiot because family dynamics are complicated. I may have blown everything out of proportion. Holy cow, not the idiot. Also, it's hard to determine if John or John's parents are the bigger idiots. I leaned slightly toward John for not standing up for the woman he married and saying this is my family, like it or love it. Everything is wrong here except you, my dude. Stand your ground for you and your mom. So they were making a surprise party at your parents' place and expected you and your mother to leave during that time? That's just so much BS, especially since they didn't seem to have any problem with you helping them set everything up. Screw them. They are the idiots. They said family only, and you and your mother are now family whether they like it or not. What were you two expected to do, leave your home for a few hours and not attend a party happening there? That's unacceptable on their part, and I can't believe your stepfather went along with it. I mean, he is a 44-year-old man and left with them. That is the most concerning part about this to me. You're a young teen. This is not a situation you should have been put in to begin with. I'm finding it hard to understand why more people are not identifying John as the giant idiot. I mean, sure, the grandparents are awful, that's a given. But John saw this go down and then left his wife and stepchild to party with his real family? Really? That's an actual idiot move. I, 38 male, have 2 daughters, Nora and Lily, teens, from my former marriage. I got married to my current wife, who has a daughter, Jenna, a teen. Jenna has a disability. She's in a wheelchair. Before I met her mom, her life was pretty much inside the house. She was homeschooled up until I got her in a private school, but she still struggles with socializing due to growing up so isolated. My wife didn't want to, but I pushed for Jenna to get therapy, which I hoped would help her with her relationship with Nora and Lily. But the kids took their time to get to know her. So, yes, they did exclude her from activities. But I had several sit-downs with them in hopes of getting them to understand that Jenna is a normal girl and has so much in common with them, so they shouldn't feel like she's difficult just because of her disability. I thought things were getting better. But days ago, and while we were at a beach resort for 4 days, Jenna stayed with us while the girls kept going out. On our second day, I saw the girls getting ready to get ice cream. I asked Jenna if she wanted to join them, and she said yes. So, I asked them to take her with them, and they were unsure at first, but then took her. An hour later, my wife came to me saying that Jenna called her, saying the girls left her near one of the benches and told her to wait 5 minutes till they got ice cream, but didn't come back. So, we went there immediately and found Jenna sitting alone while the girls were eating ice cream and hanging out at a different location. I got so mad at them, especially after they admitted to leaving her there. I told them vacation was over for them and had them pack their stuff and take them home. Both were crying and pleading in the car while my wife and Jenna waited at the resort. I dropped the girls off and had my mom stay with them. Then I returned and resumed the vacation. Both girls and their mom were all over me about this, and their mom went on a rant about me favoring my stepdaughter over my biological ones and being a doormat for my wife. The girls were upset, but I explained why I did what I did. Their mom defended them, saying that I shouldn't force them to care for their stepsister and expect them to be her maids and stop their life for her. It got to my former in-laws, who blamed me for ruining the much-awaited vacation for the girls and acting irrationally. I questioned whether I messed up and went too far with my reaction. All I wanted was for them to be upfront and honest and not abandon her the way they did. Everyone's the idiot here. Are you sure this is because Jenna has a disability? Or is it because she's the stepsister? You can read so many stories about people being forced to be friends with the step-siblings and how badly that went. Yes, leaving her there alone was bad. And yes, you should have punished them for it. But it would help if you weren't also forcing them to be friends. Let them make a relationship at their own pace. Also, she's not just a stepsister, but also a much younger stepsister. No teen wants to hang out with a kid and play babysitter. I think OP needs to be clear that any punishment, and I believe there should be one, isn't because they don't like their stepsister. It's because they endangered her well-being. Yeah, I'm not condoning their actions, far from it. But I have to wonder, when you did these sit-downs, were you only thinking about Jenna's feelings? Or did you consider your daughter's feelings too? Because there are 2 sides to every story. I wonder how they feel about this. Given that they've continually tried to exclude Jenna, avoid bonding with her, and he keeps insisting they do, I would put good money on him only looking at this from her perspective, to be honest. Most step-parents realize at some point that you can't create a bond if all kids aren't ready or willing. OP's also pushing them to be his wife's stepchildren. And his wife has treated those kids a fraction as poorly as her own child by keeping her housebound, isolated, and socially undeveloped. No wonder they're acting up. Sure, the first impulse here is to be shocked that the kids would do a mean thing to another kid for another hour. But stop and think about the underlying conditions for a second, and you get the sense that there's something really wrong with the adults here. Exactly this. And your point about the OP's wife keeping her child isolated, housebound, and socially undeveloped is spot on. This woman was a bad parent to her child. Maybe it's good that OP's children are not around OP's new wife. And while he might be a superhero to his stepchild, he's becoming the father who'll be shocked his adult kids had no contact. I, 45, female, have 2 kids. Twins, male and female. And my husband, 47, has 2 daughters, 18 and teen. My husband is very strict with his daughters. Less with his oldest, obviously. And I think he sees my kids as his, too. He's strict with them. And my kids don't mind much since he's their only father figure. And he has a good relationship with them. He's very protective over all the kids. I had a doctor's appointment yesterday. And my husband spent most of the day with his daughter at his parents' house. So I left my kids home and told them I'd be back later. My doctor took longer than expected. And by the time I was on my way back, when my husband had called me, I didn't answer since I was driving. And when I got back, he was really mad and told me that I was an irresponsible parent for leaving the kids home alone. He said they were still young and couldn't care for themselves. I said they're tweens, not 6 and 5. He was even angrier that I talked back to him and told me I should have gotten a neighbor to watch the kids. I said again that the kids were old enough to be alone and they were perfectly capable of taking care of themselves for a few hours. My husband said he had had enough and told me that from now on, I have to stay home if he's not home before he went upstairs. It took me a while to cool down. I was really mad. But later, I wondered if he was right since my kids could have still gotten into trouble. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot for leaving your kids alone if you as their parent felt they were mature enough to handle it. They're not babies anymore. But holy smokes, the rest of your story throws red flags regarding your husband. Angry at you for talking back? Telling you when you are and are not allowed to leave the house? Huh? Is this typical in your relationship? Also, if he knew she was going to the doctor, why didn't he stay home with the children or take them with him? It almost seems like he intentionally wasn't around so OP would have to stay home with her kids rather than see her doctor. The husband extends his strict rules for the kids to his wife. I only see this getting worse if OP doesn't do something to nip this in the bud quick. If she can't, she'll have some hard decisions. OP is not your parent and has no right to order you to do anything. He has no right to get angry at talking back. You're a grown adult having a conversation about a disagreement, not a petulant toddler. How condescending. Thank you for joining us on this emotional journey. If this story touched you, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more powerful and thought-provoking stories. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. And if you have a story of your own that you'd like to share, drop it in the comments or send it to us. We'd love to feature it in a future video. Thanks for watching. Welcome back to our channel, where we dive into the most jaw-dropping tales of family drama and relationship twists. Today, I have a story that will leave you on the edge of your seat. Imagine planning a peaceful family vacation, only to have it almost derailed by the most unexpected and shocking revelation. Buckle up, as I take you through this wild journey titled, "My Mother-in-Law Burned My Passport to Ruin Our Vacation, Then I Found Out She Has Feelings for Me." Our story begins with a man named Liam, who has been enduring the relentless antics of his mother-in-law, Isabella. Little did he know, this family trip would uncover secrets that would change everything. My name's Liam and I'm a 35-year-old man. My mother-in-law, for whatever reason, didn't like me for a very long time. You could argue that it was because I was stealing her precious princess away from her, but she doesn't act that way with her other children and her other daughter-in-laws, sister-in-laws. I always suspected that she had a personal problem with me, which honestly to this day hasn't properly been confirmed with her. But I'm glad that I at the very least got some revenge for her stupid antics. Let me tell you the story. From the very beginning, Isabella, my mother-in-law, and I clashed like oil and water, like fire and ice, like pineapple on pizza. Don't argue with me. She had a knack for getting under my skin with her passive-aggressive comments and disapproving glances. Whether it was about my choice of career or my lack of culinary skills, Isabella never hesitated to let her opinion be known. This one time, she fought with me because of a rug. A stupid rug. Can you imagine? This is how the argument went. "Liam, I can't believe you didn't get the rug I wanted for the living room. It's like you never listened to me." "Isabella, this is my house and I should have the freedom to choose the furnishings. The rug I bought is perfectly fine." "Perfectly fine? It's hideous. You have no taste." This is just another example of your incompetence. Enough, Isabella. I'm tired of you constantly belittling me and listing all my shortcomings. I work hard to provide for this family and I deserve some respect. Respect? Respect is earned, Liam, and you've done nothing to earn it. You're just so useless in so many ways. I can't have this conversation right now. Our conversations would normally go like this, with Isabella fighting me for something stupid and me leaving without engaging any further. That woman was sick. She definitely enjoyed seeing me angry, so I did my best to not give that to her. I genuinely believed that she had some sort of mental problem because the way she behaved was crazy. I often turned to my wife, Harper, seeking solace and understanding. Harper and I were a team facing the world together, but when it came to her mother, she often felt caught in the middle, torn between her loyalty to me and the ties of blood. She would listen to my grievances and offer comforting words, but deep down, we both knew that Isabella's ways were detrimental. One day, Harper approached me and said, "Liam, I have some exciting news. I've been thinking about your situation with Mom and I believe I found a way to improve your relationship dynamic with her." Really? I wasn't expecting any surprises. What do you have in mind? I planned a family vacation for all of us. I thought it would be a great opportunity for us to spend time together in a fun and lively environment, away from the daily stress and tension, and maybe you two could work on your relationship. Harper, I appreciate your efforts, but do you think a vacation can really fix things? My relationship with Isabella is so strained. She hates me. She doesn't hate you, babe, but I understand your concerns. It's a chance for us to reconnect, create positive memories and find some common ground. Plus, Mom seemed genuinely excited about the idea when I mentioned it to her. Isabella was actually enthusiastic about a family vacation? That's unexpected. Yes, I was just as surprised as you are. Maybe this is an opportunity for a fresh start. We can focus on enjoying ourselves and work on building a bond between you two. I guess it's worth a try. If it means a chance to improve our relationship, then I'm willing to give it a shot. That's the spirit, Liam. I believe this vacation can bring us closer together. We'll make it a memorable experience for everyone. I was a little bit giddy. I enjoyed vacations, but I was also obviously worried that things wouldn't even work out because Isabella was just hell-bent on making me angry. But I did say that I would try, so that's what I had to do. Slowly but surely, however, my hesitation grew into full-blown doubts. She was enthusiastic, making suggestions and even offering to help with the planning. This sudden change of heart set off alarm bells in my head. Isabella had never shown such eagerness before, and it made me suspicious. I couldn't shake off the feeling that something fishy was going on. Nonetheless, I kept my suspicions to myself. If I'm being honest, I think that I felt quite guilty for holding on to these suspicions. I didn't want to bring these negative vibes on our trip, and I didn't want Harper to be angry with me for being suspicious. So I kept it to myself. But surely enough, call it intuition or good luck, I found out the truth and I was right. But let me not get ahead of myself. Amidst the uncertainty, Harper and I prepared for the trip, hoping that the change of scenery would bring about some much-needed tranquility. A week had gone by, and our trip was rapidly approaching. We packed our bags, double-checked our passports, and eagerly anticipated the adventure ahead. Now, it's worth mentioning that regarding the passports, I also had a gut feeling that something awful was going to happen. Because later on that evening, Isabella called. Harper wasn't in the room at that time, so I answered the phone for her. "Hey love, make sure that your passports are left on the table tomorrow." "Oh, hey," Harper stepped out for a moment. "What's up?" "Liam, I was expecting Harper." "Well, anyway, I just wanted to remind you both to leave your passports on the table so that we don't forget them." "Why?" "The trip isn't for another 3 days, approximately at least. Leaving them out on the table so soon can be problematic. I think it's better if we keep the passports in our bags for now." Harper enters the room, sensing tension in the conversation. "What's going on, Liam?" "It was your mother calling, and I just thought I should answer. Isabella was reminding us to leave the passports out, but I suggested keeping them in our bags instead. Leaving them out on the table might not be the safest idea. We could accidentally knock them over or forget them altogether." "Yeah, that sounds like a better plan, Liam. We don't want to risk losing them or causing unnecessary trouble." Isabella, clearly frustrated by our responses, finally said this. "Fine, I need the passports out, especially your passport, Liam. You're so useless. I'm sure you'll forget it if it's not right in front of you." "Why did you need my passport specifically, and why would you say that?" "Well, it's because you're always so absent-minded and irresponsible. I can't trust you to remember anything important, so it's better if you just leave them out." "Isabella, that's not fair. I've been responsible and capable of taking care of my things." "Okay, let's take a step back. We all want this trip to go smoothly, and we don't need any unnecessary arguments. Mom, we appreciate your concern, but I agree with Liam that it's safer to keep the passports in our bags for now. If you don't leave your passports out tomorrow, then I'm not going on this trip." Both Harper and I shared a look of bewilderment. How could she resort to something so unnecessarily stupid? I was done with the conversation, and I wasn't about to enable Isabella by nagging her and forcing her to come. Harper, being the sweeter one between us, decided to do exactly that. The call ended with Harper agreeing to leave out the passports as instructed, and I was upset that Harper complied so easily. "You know, the reason why she's always getting angry over stupid things is because she knows that you'll always take her side. That's not true, Liam. I don't always take her side. I just try to avoid unnecessary conflicts with her. You know how she can be. But Harper, it's like she's controlling everything. She manipulates situations and expects us to bend to her will. We can't keep letting her dictate our lives. It's not that simple, Liam. Confronting my mother is extremely difficult for me. She's been like this all her life, and I've learned to navigate around her outbursts. It's easier to comply than to challenge her. I understand, Harper. I'm sorry for everything you have to go through. But there needs to be a point where enough is enough. We can't keep sacrificing our happiness for her satisfaction. I just want to have a good time on this vacation. I don't want tension or arguments ruining it. For now, let's just do as she says and hope for the best. We can deal with the consequences later. Fine, Harper. If that's what you want, then I'll go along with it. But I hope you realize that we can't keep enabling her behavior forever. Harper and I argued back and forth about this. It was hard to admit at the time, but this strenuous relationship I had with my mother-in-law was seriously killing my relationship with Harper. It was annoying to constantly bicker about her mother. Instead of arguing about normal marriage things like finances, forgetting to take out the trash, or not doing laundry, we would argue about Isabella, and it was getting out of hand at this point. We were arguing about this well into the morning. Maybe we should just cancel the trip, Harper. It doesn't seem like Isabella wants us to have a good time. Liam, the trip is in just 2 days. We planned this for a long time, and I won't let her ruin it for us. We're going on that vacation, and we're going to enjoy ourselves. We both shared a moment of understanding, acknowledging the difficult position we were in. Even though I was reluctant, I agreed to comply with Isabella's demands for the sake of a peaceful vacation. Deep down, I knew that this temporary concession was not a long-term solution, but I hoped that the trip will provide an opportunity for us to properly reconnect and find strength together, as was the original intention of the trip. The next day arrived, and I was going about my day at work, trying to focus on my tasks and push aside the tension caused by Isabella's constant presence in our lives. Everything seemed to be going smoothly until I received a FaceTime request from her. I hesitated for a moment, contemplating whether to answer or not, but curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to see what she wanted. As I answered the call, my heart skipped a beat when I saw Isabella's face twisted into a malicious expression I had never witnessed before. It sent a chill down my spine, and I couldn't help but brace myself for whatever was about to unfold. Well, if it isn't Liam. I'm actually surprised that you answered my call. Honestly, I could say the same. What do you want, Isabella? Oh, nothing much. Just thought I'd share some of my thoughts with you. I'm listening. I hate you, Liam. I've always hated you. You're a worthless excuse for a man, and I can't stand to see you succeed. This isn't news, Isabella, but one thing I want to know is why. What did I ever do to you? I can't bear the thought of you being happy with her. You two, always laughing and enjoying yourselves. What is there to enjoy? You don't want to see your own daughter happy? What a pathetic excuse for a mother. Me, pathetic? I'm just trying to protect my daughter. You make her believe that there aren't any problems in this world. She's too jovial and naive. You're making her dumb and clueless, just like you. That literally doesn't make any sense, Isabella. You've always tried to undermine me with the way that you speak to me. Anyone can see that you're obviously obsessed with me. Isabella's face turned from malice to embarrassment. It was like I caught her in something. She wasn't expecting me to say that, and she subsequently blushed at my words. Wait. You're not obsessed with me, are you? Well, I don't know what you mean. What are you trying to say? Oh my God, Isabella. Do you have feelings for me? What? Are you crazy? That's crazy. Why would I have feelings for you? You of all people. Don't be ridiculous. I don't even think about you. Well then, why are you so obsessed with grinding me down? It's like you're a little schoolgirl and you have a crush on me. You remember how it was back then. If someone used to like you, they'd treat you like crap. This honestly has the same vibes. If I'm lying, then tell me, because I just don't understand why you hate me so much. Well, you see, the thing is. That's disgusting, Isabella. How could you have feelings for your sister-in-law? Well, what I was going to say before you cut me off is that I don't have feelings for you. So you can just shut up. Then why can't you stand the thought of Harper and I being together? Why don't you want us to be happy? Just shut up. Don't speak. I came here to do one thing, and after your preposterous allegations, I'm going to go ahead and do it with extra pride. As Isabella was speaking, I noticed her bringing up a passport to the camera's view. I was surprised to see the flickering flame of a lighter in her other hand. She sensed my confusion and began to smile that devilish smile she donned at the beginning of the call. And then she set the passport on fire. She began to laugh, but I didn't say anything. I just looked at her sternly with disgust and disappointment. She reveled in her malicious laughter, relishing in the destruction she had caused. You see, Liam, I hate you so much that I was willing to burn your passport into ashes. You will not go on this trip. You should just think of divorcing my daughter and moving to find someone else. What? Someone like you? I never said I don't like you, damn it. I'm certainly not obsessed with you. You're just delusional. Right. Well, okay. Why aren't you enraged right now? Didn't you see what I just did? I just burnt your passport, you fool. Yes, I did see what you did. But you got one thing wrong, though. That's not my passport. What? As she was exclaiming in shock and disbelief, I pulled out my passport from my laptop bag and showed her that I had it in my possession. Yep, got my passport right here. It turns out that when you tell people that they're useless and that they always forget things, they begin to be a bit more conscientious of their belongings. I thought it best to keep my passport with me because I could tell that you were up to something. But I told you to keep your passports out. That's why I'm at your place. Well, I'm sorry that I didn't fall for your vindictive plan, Isabella. I mean, what is wrong with you? Why would you even do something like that? Then? Then whose passport did I burn? There's Isabella's here. Yours was meant to be here. Well, it's funny you ask that because if you recall, you left your passport here 2 weeks ago when you got back from Canada. I'm guessing that you thought you had it in your possession all this time. I laughed as I watched Isabella's face twist from anger to shock and then to embarrassment as she slowly realized that the passport that she burnt was her own. You made me do this. Sweetie, I didn't make you do anything. You're the one who wanted the passports to be out. I took out all three and left them on the table in the foyer just like you asked. But I knew that you had to be up to something, so I decided to keep mine with me. Honestly, you should blame yourself. Why didn't you open the passport and check the names? I did. I checked the first passport and it was Harper's. Then I didn't think that I needed to check the second one since I thought it was yours and I had forgotten that I left my passport at your house. Isabella began to whine about how all of this wasn't fair, but just like in the movies, she was yet another stupid villain with a stupid plan that went all wrong. She was hoisted by her own petard, as all the fancy people say, and I was enjoying the show. As she continued to cry and shout at me, I said, "You underestimated me, Isabella. I won't let you ruin my life or my relationship with Harper. Your reign of terror ends here. You think you've won? This is far from over, Liam. I will find a way to tear you two apart. Well, good luck with that. It seems that while you're continuing to concoct your evil plan, my wife and I will be enjoying a well-deserved vacation. We're gonna have a blast. You won't have fun. Why do you two get to have fun? It's not fair. This wasn't supposed to happen." I continued to laugh at her in her silly state of confusion and anguish, and I eventually cut the call because I was tired of the drama and I was sufficiently satisfied with how things turned out since she was the one who brought herself to her own demise. I could tell that even after the call had ended, she was furious with herself for being so foolish. I went to the security guy at my job and asked him if he could give me the camera and audio footage of my office from the past hour even though it was against company policy. He hesitated, but after briefly explaining the situation and upon reviewing what was recorded in my office himself, he gave me the footage as a favor. I'm guessing he understood that this was too important and that the truth had to be revealed. With the physical evidence of Isabella's deceit in hand, I went home and revealed everything to my wife, and by the end of everything, she was trembling with rage. Is this a bad time to say I told you that your mom was crazy? Don't test me, Liam. I'm beyond pissed. Does she really have some sort of crush on you? That's horrible. I genuinely believe so. I mean, why else would she act that way? That's why she's been so evil to me. I'm guessing she was trying to suppress her feelings, and her burning my passport would mean that I wouldn't go on the trip and she wouldn't have to witness us being so lovey-dovey to each other. Oh my God, I don't even know what to say at this point. And the fact that I let her in today, none the wiser. She must have called you and burnt the passport while I was out getting her medication so that I wouldn't suspect anything. Well, her plan almost worked. Had she just paid better attention to what she was doing. Both Harper and I laughed bitterly at the drama that was before us. Harper called her mother and with some very colorful language, berated her for her stupidity. Isabella tried to deny everything, which made Harper more enraged as she revealed the footage that I had gotten from work. Isabella, for the millionth time that day, was too stunned and embarrassed to articulate a coherent response, signifying that she had, yet again, been caught in a lie. They went back and forth with Isabella trying to lie and Harper berating her each time and presenting her with her inconsistencies. Harper ended the call with her mother very bitterly, vowing not to speak to her ever again. Harper and I went on vacation. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't the greatest experience considering just 2 days prior we got some really shocking and disturbing news. My wife, unfortunately, felt like an idiot for not seeing through her mother all this time. But I tried my best to make my wife laugh by reminding her that her mother was the stupid one for burning her own passport. Although the vacation trip wasn't a 10 out of 10, it wasn't a waste because we did genuinely enjoy ourselves. I distanced myself from Isabella, considering her weird feelings about me, and Harper wasn't answering any calls, texts or emails from her, staying true to her promise to never speak to her again. Isabella then tried to get other family members involved in this by saying we're bad kids for not listening to her and what she has to say. She's just lucky that we haven't released the footage to the other family members just yet. So for now, it's her word against ours. But Harper and I are seriously considering showing the other family members the information we uncovered. What do you guys think? Should we keep this matter private or should we expose Isabella to everyone? If this story touched your heart, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with others who might need to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a new story. We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more. Welcome back to the channel, dear viewers. Tonight, we delve into a tale that uncovers deep family grief, accusations of betrayal, and a looming legal battle. The story is titled, My In-Laws Accused Me of Betraying My Late Husband and Threaten Legal Action Over a Family Heirloom. Join me as we unravel the events that turned cherished memories into a source of conflict and heartbreak. So, sit back, relax, and let's dive into this intense story. I, female 33, lost my husband very unexpectedly 7 years ago. We knew each other from a very young age and married when we graduated college. I've known his family for almost my entire life, and they're the closest I have to actual family. My own family situation has always been problematic. I became very close with his parents in particular. I will still call them my in-laws, and we supported each other heavily through the grief process. We didn't have children before he passed, but we were trying. I began slowly dating again 4 years ago, mostly casual dates and nothing serious. In-laws were broadly supportive. I told them I was ready to date and they said okay but didn't want to know the details. As a result, I only ever spoke about my dating life vaguely and infrequently to them. Around the same time, I got a big promotion and began to spend a couple of months a year in Paris for work, global issue permitting. Then 1 year ago, I met Armand, male 38, and started my first serious relationship since being widowed. Given Armand lives in Paris, our relationship is based there. While we have traveled quite a lot together, we have yet to go to the US together. He hasn't met my in-laws, but I have told them I'm dating someone. Around Christmas, we found out I was pregnant. This was a total surprise as we weren't trying. We've since decided that I'll move to France permanently instead of splitting my time between the US and France so we can raise a family together. Unfortunately, it isn't really possible for Armand to move to the US. He works in the art industry and his studio and backers are all Europe-based. I told my in-laws and they were deeply upset. They said I was depriving them of their only opportunity to have a grandchild. My husband was an only child. Then they accused me of moving on too quickly and not loving my husband. In the end, we had a huge argument and they demanded that I leave all my husband's belongings from our apartment, his clothes, personal effects, etc. to them when I moved to Paris. They also demanded my engagement ring, which is a family heirloom. They said that they should have these because while I've moved on, he'll never stop being their son. I said no. These things are all treasured memories from my life with him and I never want to forget. They have threatened legal action to recover the ring in particular. I don't think they have a proper legal right, but I can see the hurt I'm causing them with my choices, and maybe by giving them what they asked for, they'll be able to have closure. Am I the idiot for continuing to refuse? Then they accused me of moving on too quickly and I stopped reading right there. So, he passed away 7 years ago and they say she's moving too fast. What happened to OP and the in-laws is horribly unfair and tragic, but after 7 years, OP deserves to find love again. The in-laws really should see a therapist to address this. You are not the idiot. You didn't divorce your husband. He passed away. The person you chose to spend your life with, and that was taken away from you way too soon. Unfortunately, he was taken from them too soon as well. I would try to find a compromise, which may be giving them the ring and you keeping the rest, or finding a few things of sentimental value and giving them those, but ultimately this was your husband. These are your memories with him and you'll never stop loving him just because you found someone else to love as well. You are the idiot. The ring should absolutely be going back to the family though. No matter how you feel about it being given to you, the heirloom is meant to be passed on to a future generation family member at some point, which again isn't possible in this case because you two never had a child together. You're moving on and your family's now with another bloodline family. The heirloom ring is not meant to be with that family at any point. I'm sorry, but this is a very bad take. Opie's a widow. Widows do not lose their place in a family. The ring will go where she sees fit because she's the rightful owner. Opie, it's your choice one way or another. However, I wondered how you having a baby with your new partner is depriving them of a grandchild. Totally bemused by that. If they want to be considered your child's grandparents, the last thing they should be doing is making petty demands. Update. After the funeral, I already gave many of my husband's possessions to my in-laws. What I kept were some clothes that reminded me of happy times. Things with his handwriting on them. Memories from trips, etc. And I want to keep those. It's not like I'll be lugging a huge amount of things to Paris. It's not unreasonable that I keep these. They're memories we made, not with his parents. It was worth clarifying that I don't have a separate wedding band. We couldn't find one we liked which matched the ring. So my engagement ring is also my wedding band, which my husband put on my finger in the church. I do wear the ring frequently, and it's the only thing I wear with any regularity. I really don't want to lose the relationship with my in-laws. They've always been so kind to me before all of this happened. For example, I've been spending every major holiday, like Christmas, etc., with them for the past decade. But neither do I want to bend to their unreasonable behavior. Moving to France and going completely silent isn't an option. I do want to repair the relationship in the long term. Ultimately, I'd love them to visit us. My 25 male stepdad has a gardening business. It's normally just him, but my brother 18 has been a big help and worked for him a lot over the years. The clients love my brother. He has a good work ethic and gets the job done properly and quickly. On the other hand, my stepbrother, 29, has worked for our stepdad a handful of times. Unfortunately, every time his work was sloppy and slow, and he spent the majority of his time on the phone, so stepdad never hired him again. Recently, stepdad has been sick. His body's just giving out on him, and our mom's forcing him to retire before he kills himself from work. He wants to give the business over to my brother since he has the work ethic and the rapport with the clients like him. My brother is basically our stepdad's mini-me, lol. My sister, stepsisters, and I are all okay with this since we feel our brother deserves it with the work he's put in and how he's helped build up the business. Our stepbrother, on the other hand, is angry and thinks he should get it since he's the biological child. I know I keep saying stepdad here, but that's just for clarity's sake, and he's very much our father and couldn't care less about biology. When our stepbrother was having his little fit about it, I told him to get over it and that he couldn't even hold a normal job, let alone run a business. Am I the idiot? Edit. The relationship is strained since stepbrother used to steal from him and us. He barely even sees any of us now, and that's not from our lack of trying. I don't even think he's met my stepsister's young son. Not the idiot. It might have been harsh the words you gave your stepbro, but honestly, that's the reality of the situation. It's dad's choice who he gives his business to, and he chose your brother, who would take care of it very well and is the person most likely to carry on the legacy. Would your stepbrother have been just as angry if your father had sold it to a stranger? He had nearly 10 years on your brother to build the rapport with your dad and his clients needed for this responsibility. This failure's on him. He saw your stepdad's hard work as something he could benefit from by slacking and doing none of the work going forward. I'm glad your stepdad and your siblings have a backbone. Your stepbrother's just looking to mooch, and that's it. Please ensure your dad gets all this in writing and certified by his wife and an attorney. If something unexpected happens to dad, the whole situation can become a crap show and fast. Get it in writing now so that the business, including the client list and physical assets, mowers, trucks, tools, all go to brother. You owe your stepbrother nothing, and if he keeps harassing you, feel free to block him. Backstory. My mother-in-law lived 4 hours from our city. Last year, she decided to sell her house and move near the family. She recently closed on another house here as her house was under contract. My wife stayed home overseeing some work on the new house and painting. My daughter, a first grader, and I went to my mother-in-law's house to get her moved out. My mother-in-law is the type of lady that exalts males on a glorified pedestal. Over the years, she's made numerous inappropriate remarks about my body build or my appearance. She's even gone as far as asking very personal questions. Nonetheless, her mouth has gotten her in significant trouble. With that said, when we arrived, she seemed to have been minding her manners at first. However, she commented to my daughter that when she gets older, she should marry a man just like her father. Later that night, we had an argument. My kid didn't eat dinner because she had a stomachache. My mother-in-law demanded she helps clean the kitchen and said I should be relaxing instead. My argument was why should she have to clean up from dinner when she didn't even eat? The next morning, my daughter slept in a bit, which irritated my mother-in-law. She commented that my wife is lazy. That's where her granddaughter gets it from. It made me angry considering all the work my wife has been doing to her new house. An hour later, my daughter got out of bed. I was outside when my mother-in-law was putting socks on my kid and said don't ever get fat like your mother. I didn't know about that comment until the next day. As they were packing boxes, I overheard my mother-in-law telling my daughter that her mother never wanted her. For the record, that's not true. My mother-in-law was hounding my wife to end the pregnancy because she said my wife would blow up even bigger and that having kids ruins lives. My child was upset and hurt. My instinct was to get her away from that environment. We got lunch and I took her to the beach to distract her mind. We talked it over and I promised her what her grandmother had said was not true. I called my wife and she and I spoke for a while. While they were on the phone, the comment about not getting fat like your mother was brought to my attention. We went back to the house and I gathered our belongings and we left. Outside sat several pieces of furniture in a few large boxes. My mother-in-law tried hiring movers after we left, but none were available. Overnight it rained, which ruined everything. My brother-in-law called me an idiot for letting her furniture get ruined and also claimed that it was elder abuse. A week later I received a handwritten bill requesting $4,000 for the ruined furniture. My mother-in-law wrote how saddened she was to realize my wife had brainwashed and demasculized me. The move occurred on the 1st of the year and yesterday I received an additional handwritten letter stating that I'll be sued if I don't pay for the damages. Yes, Your Honor. I'm suing my son-in-law for damages. He left because I intentionally inflicted emotional trauma on his daughter. No, he wasn't being paid for this work. No, he was under no contractual obligation to complete the job. No, I made no efforts to cover my own items with tarps, garbage bags, etc. when I realized it was raining. Yeah, I don't see that playing out really well for her in court. Let her sue you and waste her own time and resources. She has nothing supporting her claim. That's wild. Your mother-in-law is a narcissist. Politely let her know you will deduct it from what she owes from your wife and daughter's past and future therapy bills to deal with the trauma she created by being awful. Not the idiot, and I hope your entire family goes no contact with this cruel and toxic woman. Sadly, I think it's going to get worse. I agree that no contact would be ideal, but knowing mother-in-law's moving closer makes me think that won't be the case, at least not right away. OP's wife is likely far too used to her mother's mistreatment, which makes it harder to build the boundaries necessary. If she does try to take a stand, you know her mom will use moving closer as a guilt trip and manipulation tactic. I, 22 female, will graduate from nursing school next June. I've started looking for jobs and I've been thinking I could try being a particular nurse, those that you hire to take care of a patient in their own home or if they need medical care 24/7. I prefer that for now as I got very anxious during my practices in hospitals. There are many patients and it's a very stressful situation if you don't have much experience. I plan to work as a domestic nurse for half a year and then try again to do work in a clinic or hospital after gaining experience. Well, I have a brother who's a young teen. He has autism and he's disabled from his waist down. My parents asked me if I'd be willing to work for them taking care of my brother. I said it was okay for me. A patient is a patient. Then they asked me how much the family discount was to consider hiring me. I told them they'll have to pay me full price if they wanted me to nurse my brother. There's no such thing as a family discount. They got angry. They told me I was doing this for them and for my brother and that there's stuff more important than money. What I'm asking is not unreasonable after all. I have to take my brother to therapy, shower him, clean him up, feed him, give him his medication, etc. All the same stuff I'd have to do with any other patient. I think I'm asking for fair pay that's consistent with how much work I'll do. I'll charge £25 per hour, which is the average where I live. I don't think I'm being too unreasonable. They told me there's stuff more important than money. Like what? Gems? They're welcome to pay you in those too. Of course, since money's so unimportant, your parents should have no problem giving that worthless cash to you. LOL. I hate parents that try to take advantage of a child's success for their gain. You are not the idiot, but I really don't think you should start your professional career by working for your seemingly entitled parents. 1. You need the real-world experience of interacting with new people. You might think of doing this through a care company. 2. You'll need a valid reference when you get ready to return to a hospital or clinical situation. Working for your parents is different. 3. You need to start earning for yourself so that if you do or say anything they don't like, they can't hold your wages over your head. Family and business do not mix. OP, excellent advice. I also foresee hours being an issue with this situation. OP is scheduled from 8 to 5, but her parents expect her to stay later or come in early because it's family and family helps out. Also, I hate to think it, but I can't help but wonder if OP's parents would sabotage a reference to keep them from progressing in their career so they have to keep working for their family. Your parents are tired of taking care of your brother and want you to start doing it so it's not their responsibility anymore. They should want you to start your professional and independent life well, which means watching you get a full-time job or agreeing to pay you full price for your services. To be honest, I think £25 an hour is way too low for this kind of care you want to provide. This would be the family discount. They're asking you to set up a recipe for resentment and you don't have to play that game. So this happened yesterday. I came home from work in the evening and saw something cooking on the stove. I asked my boyfriend and he said he was boiling salmon. I was taken aback, like completely. I asked him to repeat what he said and he so casually said it again. I was like EW who boils salmon? He made a face and didn't reply. I told him it wasn't right and that I never heard of salmon being boiled like an egg and water type of boiling. He said it was alright and he liked it cooked that way. I called him dumb for this, to which he reacted by snapping and saying, "Who the heck says I can't boil salmon?" I said, "A common sense." He replied, "Screw common sense. I bet it's no longer common sense to eat an apple from an apple tree in this time and age." We had an argument and he started ignoring me, saying he felt hurt and disrespected when I called him dumb. He's now waiting for an apology. Am I the idiot? I called my boyfriend dumb because he likes his food cooked differently than I do. I actively sought him out, insulted him based on something that had zero impact on me, and demanded he fights back, and now he feels disrespected. I think he should apologize. Wow, you are the idiot. A massive one at that. This OP sitting here like what idiot boils salmon while high-class restaurants are off poaching salmon and charging top dollar for it. OP is acting like a spoiled toddler who's only been raised on chicken nuggets. Poaching/boiling salmon is very much a thing. It's funny you're getting all bent out of shape and upset when you're the one who called him dumb. Oh, Gordon Ramsay, he didn't even ask you to eat it. He cooked it for himself. He likes it and it's cooked, so food safety is not an issue either. Mind your own business. OP, don't call people names, especially people you love. He feels hurt and disrespected because you use disrespectful language while criticizing his perfectly acceptable choice. You owe him an apology and to change your behavior. And that, dear viewers, is how an attempt to move forward led to an unexpected and painful family rift. If you were captivated by this tale and want to hear more stories of family conflicts and unexpected revelations, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Share your thoughts and similar experiences in the comments below. Have you ever faced a situation where your past collided with your future in such a dramatic way? Until next time, remember, the ties that bind us can also be the ones that